comfortable. And no one seems to hold me like
Can I just
you
ask,
do.
no idiots were hurt in the making of this video?
You're so wonderful. A star could never shine as bright as you. Shine as bright as you. Even the dark days still see light. Even the birds still sing at night. Every word just comes out right when I'm with you, with you.
Adam from the Butchers and Barry. She can see a few of her regular customers. Barry and even the green-eyed
I
business.
met you and I still can't believe that I get to see those eyes for more than tonight. Swear you must have fell from the sky. And I feel so lucky I met you. It's not logical the way I feel when you walk in the room. When you walk in the room, it's not optional. How gravity just pulls me right to you. To you. Even the dark days.
Hello. So, I wasn't totally sure if you were going to get a vlog this week. I had taken quite a few B-roll clips, but not much else. And so, I have decided to change these vlogs a little bit. So, you're going to get kind of B-roll footage of my week, and then I'm going to sit at the end of the week and I'm going to talk you through some things. So, this is going to be an amalgamation of all the kind of ideas that I've been having. So I wanted to make some videos about low spend year but didn't know how to do them. So you're going to get my low spend weekly stats and things that I've brought this week at the end of every vlog. You're going to get a reading update. You're going to get any book mail. You're going to get a kind of general life update. And I will put chapters for all these things at the end. So if there's something that you want to skip past, feel free. I'm not about making you watch things that you don't want to. That said, what has happened since the last time I vlogged? So another thing that I'm going to do, these vlogs are going to go up on a Wednesday now. I'm going to film Monday to Sunday and then have the vlog going up on the following Wednesday. So since the last time I spoke to you, I've gone and got myself a part-time job. And this is something that I had and ahed about for ages. And me being me, was kind of convinced that if I went into a part-time job that I needed to go back to what I know and go into care. But the more that I thought about it, with caring for Nana, if I was doing that as a job as well, I think it would be too much for me. And so I am going to work in a supermarket. I'm going to be a checkout girl, which really throws me back to my first job at Morrison's back in... oh God, it was when I was at college, so 2007? Yeah, it must have been. So yeah, that makes me feel old. I am going back to work at Morrison's, which I'm delighted about. I did get offered a job to go and work with learning disabilities again, which in my heart of hearts, I kind of wanted to, but I know that at the moment it's just not a sensible thing for me to do. I never want to be the sole person in charge of something at the moment because Nana has to be my priority. And obviously if there was an emergency while I was working at Morrison's, I know that there's other people that would be able to take over and I could just get back to her. Whereas if I was the sole person caring for someone one-on-one, I wouldn't be able to do that. So yeah, I'm going to work at Morrison's 16 hours a week. It is a bit of a commute, which I wasn't totally hoping for, but with Tom flexibly working, and I have told him that I can't do mornings because of having to do Nana's personal care, I'm really looking forward to it. I've already been using it's about a half an hour bus journey, and that's split into 2 buses, so it's not too bad. But yeah, I've been using it to listen to audiobooks. So that segues quite nicely into a reading update. So I have finished 3 audiobooks this week. The first one being The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevado, which was, I think, 5-star perfect. I I just loved the emotion that went into this one. This was Elizabeth Acevedo's debut, and I have also read Clap When You Land and With the Fire on High, and I do think that I preferred her novel in verse over her non-verse novel. What's the word that I'm looking for? You know what I mean. And The Poet X, I think I preferred over Clap When You Land, although both were fantastic. Listen to both via audiobook. The Poet X I got from Borrow Box, and it was just this wonderful story, this kind of coming of age story of a teenager who had to deal with the fact that her mum was quite religious and yet she was questioning her beliefs. And yeah, I don't want to give too much away about it. I just thought it was fantastic. So looking forward to reading more from Elizabeth Acevedo. I then read Consumed by Barber, and this was a reread for me. And again, loved it, would still give it 5-star, even though I don't rate non-fiction anymore. And I kind of feel that How to Break Up with Fast Fashion is like beginner's level How to Break Up with Fast Fashion, why we shouldn't be shopping fast fashion, etc. And Consumed goes that little bit further. It's a little bit more detailed and a little bit more about race and inequality and really gets down into the nitty-gritty of that. So really enjoyed that and would highly recommend reading that one. That one was via Audible. I don't have an Audible subscription anymore, but I have a few books that I bought on there and listened to again and again. And then I was really craving another Cressida Mclaughlin fix, so I read via Scribd The Canal Boat Cafe, and to quote Aoife from Pretty Purple Polka Dots, it was a book and I read it. I really enjoyed the setting on the narrowboat, but I liked the characters, but I didn't particularly like the romance. It fell a bit flat for me. There was one plot point that I really didn't like how it was dealt with and how it was overcome in the end. And I just didn't get the feel with this one that I do get from the Cream Tea Bus series. So yeah, there is a Christmas one. I will read that, but I don't think I'll remember much of this book by the end of the year, put it that way. I then DNF'd a book, which I was really disappointed about, and that is This Love by Dani Atkins. I tried to read this physically. I then switched to the audiobook and I just couldn't get into this one. I have only read Dani Atkins once. I read Our Song about 4 years ago and absolutely fell in love with the author's writing, and this one just wasn't it. I think it's got really long chapters, and I kind of think if I kept going with it, I would have found out some things which would have maybe made me like it a bit more, but life is too short, so this one is going to be going. And last but not least this week, I finished Breaking and Mending by Joanna Cannon, and Joanna Cannon is a fantastic author. This is a non-fiction about her time as a doctor and how she suffered from burnout and how it almost broke her, and this was just... I almost don't want to get too deep about this one, but I really do believe that this has kind of helped me close a little bit of a door in my mind right now to the NHS. Like, I have suffered with guilt for a long time over leaving the NHS and leaving my colleagues, and anytime I hear about waiting lists and strikes and things, my heart just goes out to all the people that are still working there, and also all the patients that are suffering because of the way the NHS has been systematically broken by the government. And this almost gave me permission to kind of set that guilt down for now. Yeah, it was really, for such a short book, it was really profound to me, and I don't think I could ever thank Joanna Cannon enough. I am going to pass this on to one of my friends who is a junior doctor, because I think she will get a lot out of this one. I had one piece of book mail this week. I had How to Find a Missing Girl by Victoria Wlosock, I think is how you pronounce that. I'm really excited about this one. I think in last week's vlog, I showed you the little sampler that I was sent. Gutted that this came after I'd filmed my September releases video, and gutted that I hadn't even put it on my list. I don't know why. I thought it was out in October, but really looking forward to reading this one. This says, one missing girl is unthinkable, 2 is unforgivable. Now, this sounds very Carol M. McManus, but make it sapphic, and I'm looking forward to reading that. And then a book that I do have some guilt about here. I will explain this more in a minute when I do my low spend things I bought this week. But I went to Merry Hill with my mom, and Merry Hill for me is a bit like a trigger for me. Like, that's where I grew up shopping. That's where me and my mom have had some great time shopping together. And she always wants to kind of get me into fast fashion shops and tries to persuade me that New Look have got some lovely dresses. And I know she means well, but obviously it doesn't fit with my values. But I did feel that urge to shop, and in the works I ended up picking up Zora books, her Happy Ever After. I'd never heard of Taj McCoy, but it says, an indie bookseller, a famous author, his best friend. Zora has committed every inch of her life to establishing her thriving DC bookstore, making it into a pillar of the community, and she just hasn't had the time for romance. But when a mystery author she's been crushing on for years agrees to have an event at her store, she starts to rethink her priorities. Lawrence is every bit as charming as she imagined, even if his understanding of his own books seems just a bit shallow. When he asks her out, she's almost elated enough to forget about the grumpy guy who sat next to her making snide comments all evening. Apparently, he's Lawrence's best friend, but she can't imagine what kind of friendship that must be. They couldn't be more different. As she struggles to choose between them, she can't shake the feeling that they're both hiding something, a mystery she's determined to solve before she can find her happy ever after. I don't think I've read a love triangle before that I can remember anyway, so I am looking forward to reading that. But I will say it here, it was a book that I didn't need to buy, but the fact that I did only walk out with one book and not 3 for £6, I'm going to give myself a little pat on the back for that. So I'm just going to turn the camera around now and I'll give you an update on my spending for this week. So this is the new bit of my vlog, and I need you to let me know what you think of this, because I've seen a lot of budget bloggers do this, and I thought, seeing as I'm doing a no spend year, I should try and include it here. I'm sorry if the camera's wobbling. I think, let me move it slightly that way. Right, I hope that that's not too skewy for you. I've just moved it away so that I'm not touching it. So, as you'll see from this week, it was a day of lots of unplanned spending. Now, I'm not going to go through every transaction that I did, because some are like bills and things, but maybe I will. I'm just going to go through everything for this week, and then you can let me know if you like this format. So we'll start with Monday. Monday wasn't too bad, actually. We just had a small go out, but then I was at my mum and dad's and I popped to the Co-op and I bought a magazine, which isn't allowed, and also some snacks, so that's why that one is red. And then this one was planned from pots. So again, I did buy some things that aren't technically allowed, but it came from my personal spends pot, so actually I probably should have put that one in red as well. But we move on. So I bought a blue cardigan from the air ambulance shop at Merry Hill. My biggest spend out of this was £75 for a pair of work shoes. Now, that might sound a lot, but I'm really cautious of the fact that if I'm gonna do a job and get through it with my chronic pain, I need to have a really comfy pair of shoes. So I bought the Clarks Unloops, which are what I always wore doing my nursing, so I know that they're good. I then bought a book and a diary from the works. Didn't need the book, did need the diary. I bought some toothpicks. I bought an M&S meal deal at the train station, and I also paid for a bin clean. Again, something that I could do for myself, but with my chronic illness, it's so much easier to pay a service to do that. And then on the 23rd, again, unplanned spend, I bought a I paid a bill. I paid off my PayPal credit card, so that is completely paid off now. And I also bought a book from World of Books on tray bakes because I've really got into baking lately. And then again, the next one, £141.84, but that was all planned spends. So we had some groceries, some cleaning stuff, my pet insurance, and we also bought a thermometer because Nana's got a bit of a cough and has been a bit up and down. Our old thermometer went walkabout sometime during the move, and yeah, that's something that I can totally justify buying. And then Friday had my very first no spend day this month. So when I started this challenge, I was really hung up on having no spend days, but actually I'm okay with not having many no spend days. I just want my overall spending to be going down and to a manageable level so that I can put plenty of money into house savings and have kind of a big emergency fund. And then again, we have 2 days of unplanned spending. So yesterday I went for my job induction. So I knew that I was going to have to pay for bus fare, but oh, and also I bought 2 pairs of trousers for work, which were £3 each because I got them from my favourite charity shop. So that's not too bad. I can live with that. But then I hadn't eaten because I was so nervous, and rather than making a sensible choice, I went to Slim Chickens, which I've never been to before, and actually had this honey barbecue burgery thing, which was absolutely wonderful. Bit pricey though at £11.45. And then Tom wanted an Indian on the night, so we had an Indian, which actually for the 3 of us came to £27.55, so I don't think that was bad. Me and Nana both only had a really small portion, but actually I'm feeling it today because my belly is in absolute bits. I think that was because I didn't eat for a huge chunk of yesterday and then ate a lot within a few hours, so that's something that I need to work on. And then today, I had planned to have today as a no spend day, but Tom said, I fancy Subway, shall we go out when Nana has her nap? So obviously wasn't going to say no to that. It would have been, it's a weird one actually. I'm not sure whether I should have classed this as unplanned. Well, actually yes, because I did buy a book from World of Books because somebody recommended it to me on a video earlier, and I'm that easily sold. We also got Nana some cough syrup. I got some work socks. And this is where I really think about kind of value over just price, because I could have got the basic ones, but I actually bought those pricier super soft ones. No regrets, I don't think. I also bought a water bottle because we're allowed to have a water bottle on the till, but it has to be a sports cap, so that's what I've bought. And a bottle of milk and some pan au chocolats for tomorrow. So I'm not sure now how to do this. I want to show you everything I bought this week, or like brought into my house, if that makes sense. I did say that one of my goals this year was to stop bringing so many physical things into my life and to be more kind of conscious that anything I do bring in will be my responsibility to make sure that that then ends up in a good home. But I'm not sure whether to do this like a list while I just show you a photograph of all the things, or if I bring them through here like we're on Jim Davidson's Generation Game. So I'm going to read out the list and then I will decide during editing which way to do it. So this is my list here. So this week I had a hair grip from my mom because she didn't want it anymore. I also rescued a yellow denim jacket from her, which I absolutely love, and it fits me perfect, and that would have gone to the charity shop, but I took it. I had my book from the works, I had my diary from the works, I had my Clark's work shoes. My sister also asked me this week if I would be her bridesmaid, and of course I said yes, and I got a clutch bag from her that says bridesmaid on it. I was also gifted a few birthday presents from her, so I got a cat sippy cup, as I call it, a cat tray, a cat pencil case and cat pens, all of which I'm going to make use of. I bought 2 pairs of work trousers. I had book mail, how to find a missing girl. I've literally just had it in my hands and don't know where I've put it. And also my water bottle and socks, which again were both for work. And so we come to the end of this weekly vlog, and I was going to talk about some kind of goals for next week, but I really don't know how it's going to go. I am going to be juggling work and care for the first time, and booktube and housework and all that fun stuff, and chronic illness, obviously, as that's never very far from my mind. But I'm really looking forward to it. I have already felt a little bit of an achievement, just that I have been able to get on the bus with my anxiety. I didn't think that was going to be possible. I have set contingency plans. I know where every toilet is along the way. I know what time all the pubs open. I know where I'd be able to get off, things like that. And so, yeah, we continue to wait for my colonoscopy appointment, and we're just going to see how it goes. I am trying not to think too far forward. I already had this kind of little like panic in my head when I was on the bus. I remember my first day at Loros, I had to get off the bus to be sick, and then spent the best part of a week in hospital and the best part of 2 weeks off work sick. But we're not going to think about that. We're just going to be positive, and hopefully my body will listen. I hope you've enjoyed this weekly vlog. If you haven't already, please do check out Sunday's video, my September anticipated releases, as it does have a giveaway. And until next time, look after yourselves. Bye.